Hey guys, alright, we are back with yet another Knowledgia video. This time, what happened with the Muslim majority of Spain and Portugal? Well, this is a very interesting question because, well, for a long time, the Muslims had solid control over the entire Iberian Peninsula, and they even threatened France, as I think the Battle of Tours, was that the video? Not the video, the battle? I think that was the name of the battle where the Frankish army beat the Islamic army and prevented them from going further north into Europe. But they still held majority control over Spain and Portugal for a very long time. But then the Reconquista happens, and that goes away pretty fast, honestly. So I think in southern Spain, there's definitely still an ounce of Muslim majority, just with the buildings and such. I think in northern Spain, or middle to northern Spain, I think in those areas, even when the Muslims controlled it, that was still probably majority Catholic, even under Muslim control. Just my assumption, based on how the architecture is in those in middle and northern Spain and Portugal, etc. Whereas southern Spain would be under Islamic control for much of the medieval times. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear their explanation.
The Iberian Peninsula was known as Hispania, a name given by the Romans. However, after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the territory was lost to the tribe of the Visigoths, which ended up ruling the whole peninsula. But this was temporary. Their new home will be conquered in the next period by a new force emerging far away. Even if the ancient and medieval periods are long gone, you can still rule. Starting as a religious movement in the hot desert of Arabia, Islam spread rapidly, mainly due to the early military successes against Eastern Roman and Persians. Arab dynasties expanded more and more, reaching the shores of the Atlantic Ocean at the end of the 7th century. In these empires, the religion was embraced by more and more people and became dominant in the caliphates. It is believed that Hispania was one of the former Roman provinces where the Latin language and culture grew deep roots. And on April 30th, 711, Muslim general Tariq ibn Ziyad landed in Gibraltar. By the end of his campaign, most of the peninsula was brought under Islamic rule. Islam has been present in Hispania since the Umayyad conquest in the 8th century. As in other places of the Caliphate, many others embraced Islam. It is not known for sure the exact number of people who were Muslims, but by 1100, the Muslim population in the Iberian Peninsula was estimated to 5.5 million. They were Arabs, Berbers, or local people who accepted the religion. Even if the Umayyad dynasty collapsed, parts of the peninsula were held by Muslim dynasties in the next centuries, and the Muslim majority existed more in the Spanish part than in the Portuguese part of land. In the next few centuries, Christians pushed from the north and started Reconquista. Due to this process, the Muslim population started to decline. At the end of the 15th century, the Reconquista culminated in the fall of Granada, with the Muslim population of Spain estimated to be around 500,000. Approximately half of the Muslims lived in the former Emirate of Granada, the last independent Muslim state in Spain, which had been annexed by the Crown of Castile. Muslims living under Christian rule were known as Mudahars. The conquest was accompanied by the Treaty of Granada, signed by Emir Muhammad
Rights, freedom, and religious tolerance to
allowing
Moors
the Spanish
in exchange
crown's
for their
new
total
Muslim
surrender.
subjects a large measure of religious toleration. The subjects were allowed the continuing use of their own language, religion, schools, and laws. However, in 1492 started the monarchy's reversal of freedoms. It started with the Alhambra Decree, ordering the expulsion of practicing Jews from the kingdoms of Castile and Aragon and its territories. This continued when the Archbishop Talavera was replaced by the Cardinal Cisneros. He immediately organized a drive for mass forced conversions to Christianity. Also, thousands of Arabic books
No one expects the Spanish
At the end of the
Inquisition.
15th century, in 1499, the Mudhars rebelled. The first rebellion of the Alpujarras was unsuccessful and only had the effect of giving King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella a pretext to revoke the promise of toleration. That same year, the Muslim leaders
Sounds
of
about
Granada
right.
were
Sounds like
ordered to
medieval
hand
time,
over
or
almost
not really
all of the
medieval. This
remaining
is more
books in
Renaissance
Arabic,
time.
most of which were burned,
Colonialism, 'cause
sparing
we're in the
only
late
the medical
1400s.
manuscripts. Beginning in the city of Valencia in 1502, Muslims were offered the choice of baptism or exile. Many of them
Become a
chose
Christian
the first
or
option
bye-bye.
because exile was difficult. Thus, the majority are forced to accept conversion. They became
Yeah.
the new Christians, also called Moriscos. Many of them continued to practice their old beliefs in private. In 1567, King Philip II made the use of the Arabic language illegal and forbade the Islamic religion, dress, and customs, a step which led to the second rebellion of the Alpujarras. Acts of brutality existed afterwards. Edicts of expulsion for the expulsion of the Moriscos were finally issued by Philip III in against the remaining Muslims in Spain. Other expulsions were also made. The last mass prosecution against Moriscos for practicing Islam without being seen occurred in Granada in 1727. By this period, the indigenous Islam is considered to have been effectively extinguished in Spain. The Reconquista was a process not only of war and conquest, but also of repopulation. Christian kings moved their own people to locations abandoned by Muslims in order to have a population capable of defending the borders. By doing so, the Muslim population became less and less. Many were exiled, others persecuted, and others converted.
Yeah.
A big thank you again to our sponsor, Throne.
Very good.
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, that's their patrons. Let's go here. Let's do that. It was a good video. Very, very short, very, very brief, of course. And to properly answer this question to the best of one's ability would not take 5 minutes. It would take you. This is a. This is like a doctoral thesis here that they're dealing with. So covering it in 5 minutes is tough. I think they did a pretty good job here. Obviously, to answer this question, this question probably couldn't even be answered in a single book. Maybe it could, but the numerous reasonings and the history that happened here in Iberia is just, there's just so much that it would take a lot of words to explain what happened with the Muslim majority, right? So, doing 5 minutes, I think they did good. Yeah, very brief. I enjoyed the video. I hope you guys did too. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Leave a suggestion down below for what you want to see me react to next. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.